I would like to call this regular meeting of the Coralville City Council to order. It is May 13th, 2025. Could I have the roll call, please?
Here.
Zhang.
Here.
Hun.
Here.
Peterson.
Here.
Goodrich.
Here.
All council members are present, as is the mayor, the city clerk, the city administrator, the city attorney, and several other staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Moved by Huynh. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Next item, I have two proclamations this evening. The first proclamation I am going to read is for Older Americans Month. Whereas Johnson County Livable Community for Successful Aging seeks to collaboratively celebrate the lives and benefits of older adults in the communities throughout this county. And whereas May is Older Americans Month, a time for us to recognize and honor the older adults of Coralville and their influence on every facet of American society. And whereas older Americans improve our communities through intergenerational relationships, community service, civic engagement, and many other activities. And whereas the Older Americans 2025 theme, Flip the Script on Aging, focuses on transforming how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. It encourages individuals and communities to challenge stereotypes and dispel misconceptions. And whereas the City of Coralville must ensure that older Americans have the resources and support needed to stay involved in their communities, reflecting our commitment to inclusivity and connectedness. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Megan Foster, Mayor of the City of Coralville, do hereby proclaim May 2025 to be Older Americans Month in the City of Coralville and urge all citizens to celebrate the profound positive impact of meaningful interactions and social connections with seniors for the entire community. Signed on this 13th day of May 2025, Megan Foster, Mayor. Okay, and I do believe we have a representative here. Yes, that would like to speak to us this evening about this proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor Foster, and thank you to the Coralville City Council for this recognition. We are so honored. I'm Haley Crabb, first off. I am with the Policy Board with Johnson County, the Johnson County Community for I never get this right, my goodness. The Johnson County Livable Community for Successful Aging. Hey, I got it right last week. But I'm so honored to accept this proclamation in recognition of the many, many contributions of older adults in our community. The Policy Board is currently in the midst of a community-wide survey, so that way we can better understand the needs of the older adults in our community and we can effectively respond to those needs as they are changing. And like Mayor Foster mentioned, the theme this year is Flip the Script. We are really working to challenge these outdated stereotypes around older Americans in our community and really focus on celebrating the vibrancy, the wisdom, and the strength that they bring to our community every day. And so I'd like to take this moment to invite us all to celebrate those members of our community, all their contributions, including their volunteer work, their mentorship, and their active participation in civic life. So thank you again for this proclamation.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Would you like to take a photo? Sure. Yeah, okay, let's do it. All right, there you go. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor, for that proclamation. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you are welcome. Happy to do it. Happy to do it.
Happy to get it.
Okie doke. Now we have a second proclamation this evening. This one is for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Whereas May is recognized as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, a time for communities to celebrate the contributions, culture, and history of Asian and Pacific Islander Americans. And whereas Coralville is home to a diverse community of Asian and Pacific Islander Americans who have made significant contributions to the societal, cultural, and economic fabric of our community. And whereas the month of May provides an opportunity to highlight and recognize the achievements and struggles of Asian and Pacific Islander Americans who have often faced discrimination, racism, and unjust treatment in our society. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month originated in a congressional bill in June of 1977. On March 28, 1979, President Carter issued Presidential Proclamation 4650, proclaiming the week beginning on May 4th, 1979, as Asian Pacific American Heritage Week. And whereas on May 1st, 2009, President Obama issued Presidential Proclamation 8369, proclaiming May 2009 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And whereas the observance of Asian American and Pacific Islander Month provides a chance for all individuals and organizations in Coralville to learn about and appreciate the rich cultural heritage and diversity of our community. Now, therefore, I, Megan Foster, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Coralville, do hereby proclaim May 2025 to be Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Coralville, Iowa, and encourage residents to promote greater understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of the diversity that makes our community stronger and more vibrant, along with local organizations and businesses to participate in activities and events that highlight the heritage and contributions of Asian and Pacific Islander Americans throughout the month of May and beyond. Signed on this 13th day of May, 2025, Megan Foster, Mayor. Okay, and I know we have some folks here to accept this proclamation. I do want to also just highlight my colleague, Hai Huynh, who is one of the organizers of the Coralville Asian Fest, and I believe we have some other folks here that are from that organization. Would you like to come up and say a few words at the mic and talk about the event that is going to be happening on Saturday?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First off, I'd like to say thank you for the recognition of the proclamation. The event that's going to happen on Saturday, May 17th from 12 to 6, it recognizes the Asian American cultural heritage, just the contributions that was put out to the community. We spent a whole year planning this event, and we hope that everybody comes out to check out the event. And this is something that we have the desire to continue year after year with the city of Coralville. So thank you so much for your support.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Is anybody out? Would anybody else like to come and say a few words? Okay. All right. Yes. Well, let's grab a photo, and why don't you come up and
Sounds good.
grab a photo with us? Yes. Come. Yes, of course it's okay. Yes, you bet. All right. Can't get anybody in. Sorry about that. All right, thank you. Oh, thank have a poster here. We will get that put up, and I'm sure we will hear more about this event
In a bit.
in a bit, later on. Okay, outstanding. Moving on. Okay. The next item on our agenda is community comments. And this is a time for community members to speak to us about items that aren't on the agenda or items that are on the agenda but are not subject to a public hearing. Each speaker will have 5 minutes, and we do reserve the right to adjust both the overall comment time as well as the individual speaking time based on the number of speakers or any accommodations that a speaker might need. So is there anyone that would like to address us tonight about items that aren't on the agenda or items that are but are not subject to a public hearing? You can step up to the mic. Anyone? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Tara McGovern. Thank you for the proclamations today. I'm so glad I got to witness that. I am a City of Coralville employee. I am a theater production assistant at the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts. And my job description is one of the ones that's being voted on later. And ironically, also on the agenda is the AFSCME union agreement, which doesn't cover the Coralville City for the Performing Arts employees, and like none of us have any bargaining, and that's because we're all I know you can't speak back and forth, but I just want to bring this to your attention. I especially am interested in Councilor Peterson's expertise about this. We're designated as seasonal employees, but our employment is very different than the seasonal employment of the parks and recreation in general. Like I'm a part-time employee, but I've worked continuously, every Monday through Friday for years in my position at the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts. And so I have been working with Megan and James at AFSCME trying to figure out what are our options as employees at CCPA. And there's nothing really, this doesn't affect the union bargaining agreement at all, nor it just happens to be on the same agenda as the job descriptions being updated. And so I just wanted to bring to your attention the fact that no CCPA employees are covered by collective bargaining because we're all designated, all the part-time employees are designated as seasonal, even though we're not seasonal in the same way that lifeguards, camp counselors, et cetera, are seasonal. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we will have some follow-up on that. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Appreciate that comment. Is there anyone else that would like to address us this evening? Okay. Excellent. All right. We will move on then to our next agenda item. And our next item is a public hearing for a development agreement. This is for the former Iowa River Power Restaurant, and this development agreement would rebate added property tax revenue from the renovation of the former Iowa River Power Restaurant for a period of 10 years. So with that, I will open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone that would like to speak to us about this tonight? Yeah.
Good evening, City Councilors. I'm Mackenzie Drew, and I'm here on behalf of Greater Iowa City, Inc., the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Agency in Johnson County. And on behalf of our organization, I'd like to register our excitement about this plan for the historically significant Iowa River Power Restaurant. This project along the Iowa River aligns with our community's vision to activate and strengthen the riverfront area. It also sits on the edge of one of our strategic investment districts that we've identified in Coralville and can serve as an anchor for the larger 5th Street corridor. And finally, we appreciate the developer's interest in working with other local businesses on this project to create something that's truly unique to Coralville and reflects the character of our community. So we encourage your support of this project and thank you for your consideration.
Excellent. Thank you for those comments. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to us about this item during the public hearing? Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Mark Kaufman. This is Tom Beardsley.
How are you?
You can sit down, Tom. Don't need both of us up here. Tom and I were roommates at Iowa. We go way back and our work together. But A little surprised that I'm in front of you, but I'm happy to be so. This project kind of came as a surprise to me because of a number of trips up and down First Avenue where, come to find out, many people have memories about IRP. And when I was visiting my folks who are now in the Grand Living facility, my eyes kept going to the building, and the memories of my first trip there was probably 1983 when I was a sophomore in college here, and started to appreciate the times I'd spent there and kind of what has evolved or devolved over time. And the restaurant, when it closed, I started thinking about, like, somebody should take this building over and redevelop it because I think it has so much potential. And the facility had become, in my opinion, tired and needed some rejuvenation, like any restaurant or any business does after that amount of time. And so one thing led to another. I reached out to find out who owned the building, and ended up purchasing the building about a year ago. I guess a year ago this fall, and started to look at what it could be. I'm spending time in it today and spending time in it in the last year and a half, trying to understand what the building could be and wants to be, has been an interesting process. But we're talking to 3 different local businesses or potential tenants of the business, all of which I think would bring interesting and sympathetic, if that's the right word, a collaboration of businesses. It would be a great meeting spot, and I'm committed to investing a serious amount of money to bringing the building back. Right now you see a building that has a lot of windows that are boarded up. If you haven't seen the inside of the building, and a few of you have, it's got amazing bones and structure to it, and I think it has so much potential, which excites me. But the building as it stands needs some work. It needs a lot of attention. There's starting in the basement all the way up, and I'm committed to that, and I think the potential is incredible. We've talked to a number of people that are interested in being part of it. The interesting part is, again, I'm not sure everyone in this room would have a story about their experiences at IRP, but I would guess most of you do. We certainly appreciate the collaboration and people I've met, Nancy and now Mackenzie, and the interactions I've had with the village have been very positive and well received. I welcome any questions or anything you want to hear about. I don't have specifics about actual tenants yet because those discussions are ongoing until leases are signed and things. I don't want to let that be out, but pretty excited about where this is going. And we're on a timeline that I would like to say, and I hate to throw this out there, I'd like to say it'd be ready by the end of summer next year, but there's a lot of work to be done. So I'm not, patience is not one of my virtues. I will be back here in a couple days for 2 of my daughter's graduations. I have 3 girls. They all went to Iowa. 2 will be graduating from law school and grad school this weekend. I grew up in a little town, if you know where Olds, Iowa is. It's about 38 miles straight south of here is where I grew up, but I've been in Chicago now for 35 years with my wife and now 3 daughters. So I'm a physical therapist by trade, by no means a restaurateur, but been in a position now, have some time and capability to do this, and I'm fully committed to seeing it through. So that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much for your comments. I just have to say that you mentioned the memories at IRP. We celebrated my son's adoption at Iowa River Power after his adoption hearing. That's where we went and had a celebratory lunch many years ago. So there's a special memory there for me, for sure. Any other questions? Do we have anybody have any questions or comments?
Can you, I think most of us are very excited about this project and have memories like Megan just said. Can you comment on the historical reservation or preservation aspect of it and working, I think, with the state to get that approval? Is that going along okay and to your
Yes,
satisfaction?
Yeah, great question. We've had meetings with the state director, Durham, has been there and visited, and without formally committing support, saying she would be very supportive of what we're attempting to do there. We had our architect there. We have a great I think we have not only Tom. Tom oversaw all the real estate. He's the real estate part of this, but he saw the real estate with my company for over 20 years, and that's his forte. But we have a team out of Dubuque with the Gronin Group that's done a number of historical preservations, including the Millwork District in Dubuque. If you've been there, they've done a fantastic job. Mike Stickley, an architect from the same area, and working with the Heritage Works as part of the historical work that needs to be done to claim that status and receive the benefits of that, which will receive some remuneration of the commitment we put forward. It's not, it's substantial, but considering the dollars that are going into this to make it and do it right, I think it's warranted, and there's state and federal dollars available for that. But there's a lot of, we're doing that because I think the building deserves it. I think it'll be a much better project. First and foremost, it requires commitment by the state and by federal authorities to approve and go through the hurdles and steps related to that process. But again, to bring it back, it restricts what you can do to the building and bringing it back to its historical preservation or restoration. And so that becomes a little challenging, but again, I think if we're going to do it right and do it the right way and what the building and the village and the community deserve, I think it requires that. So that means exterior finishes, that means new windows, that means everything, but bringing it back to a lot of very interesting historical photos and plans that we've seen, or I've come to see, that I didn't even know existed, to understand the true history of that building, which is really interesting too. There's a lot there.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions?
I was just wondering if, you work together with the Johnson County Historical Society. I know that they preserve a lot of historical sites in Johnson County, so they might be able to point you to some direction or even come up with archive photo that would help with the restoration process.
That's a great suggestion. I'm not aware of that group, but we'll certainly reach out to them, so I appreciate you bringing that up to me. I've been a bit overwhelmed on the amount of, I guess I shouldn't be, or we shouldn't be, because of the length of time that building's been there, the restaurant that did so many things for so many people for 40 plus years. But we've had so many people reach out in the community in a supportive fashion, sharing stories, sharing photos, every position from busboy, valet to chef and whatever. But I'll thank you for that. I'll make a note of that to reach out.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I would say if Rex Brandstettler is here, he could tell you a lot of history about that building. I read a lot about it. It was an ice house at one time, many years ago, when they started doing the roller dam there. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what you do with the building. So, thank you.
Mid-American's been a great group to work with also. I've been, pleasantly surprised, a utility group with that, what they have just south of the building. But they've been very nice to work with and nice to have good neighbors.
Well, thank you for restoring that and keeping that a part of Coralville's history.
Look forward to the days, weeks, months, and years, hopefully not too many years to come, until we get this thing going.
Excellent.
Anything else?
This is a great project, and I think we all look forward to helping you in any way we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have anyone else that would like to address us during the public hearing? Anyone? Okay, do we have any written comments?
No written.
Okay, then I'll close the public hearing, and we will consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the development agreement with Old Gold and Black LLC for the historic renovation of the former Iowa River Power Restaurant. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Vogelsang. Any other questions or comments from the council on this project?
Mayor, just a little bit of history on the building. Back in the 70s, the city actually owned the building. A Mid-American, their predecessor at that time, donated the building to the city when they stopped using it as a power plant. And at that time, the city had a study done back in the 70s. That was prior to me, but post-done deal.
Just of course.
But they did a study, and the study came back and said the best use for that building would be a restaurant. And the council at that time said they were crazy. And lo and behold, it was a restaurant for over 40-some years. So there's a lot of history for that building, and it's tied to the community and to Coralville, and it's just very exciting to have that coming back again.
Awesome.
There's a lot of memories in those walls.
Do we have any other comments or questions? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelzang,
Aye.
Kuhn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich,
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Okay, on to our next item. We have a trams application, and this is a requirement for the MPOJC to submit an application in trams, which stands for Transit Award Management System. And this would be to draw allocated FTA 5307 funds on behalf of Coralville Transit. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Federal Transit Administration and operating administration of the United States Department of Transportation for federal transportation assistance authorized by 49 USC Chapter 53, Title 23 United States Code, or other federal statutes administered by the Federal Transit Agency. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions, comments, or discussion on this agenda item? Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Kuhn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich,
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have an amendment to gas and electric franchise agreement. This is the second reading. There are several ordinances here. And just as a reminder, these ordinances are amending the franchise agreements and increasing the franchise fees on gas and electrical facilities sold by Mid-American Energy and Lynn County REC. Those will go from 1% to 2%. So let's start with the first of the ordinances.
Ordinance number 2025-1003, an ordinance granting to Mid-American Energy Company, its successors and assigns the right and non-exclusive franchise to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate in the city of Coralville, Iowa, an electric system and communications facilities, and to furnish and sell electric energy to the city and its inhabitants, and authorizing the city to collect franchise fees for a period of 20 years. This ordinance introduced an adoption by a second consideration by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich,
Aye.
Knutson,
Aye.
Vogelzang,
Aye.
Kuhn.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. And could I have the next ordinance, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1004, an ordinance granting to Mid-American Energy Company, its successors and assigns the right and non-exclusive franchise to acquire, construct, erect, maintain, and operate in the city of Coralville, Iowa, a natural gas system, and to furnish and sell natural gas to the city and its inhabitants, and authorizing the city to collect franchise fees for a period of 20 years. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Knutson. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Goodrich,
Aye.
Knutson,
Aye.
Vogelzang,
Aye.
Kuhn,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. And finally, could I have the third ordinance read, please?
Ordinance number 2025-1005, an ordinance amending section 111B.17 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville, increasing the franchise fees for sale of electricity by Lynn County Rural Electric Cooperative to 2%. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Nguyen. Any questions or comments? All right, roll call, please.
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelzang?
Aye.
Kuhn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Goodrich?
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Okay, on to our next item. We have the Gregory Ridge Subdivision. This is the second reading of this ordinance as well. And this proposal is for a 4-acre, 2-lot subdivision in a single-family residential district. Could I have the ordinance read, please?
Ordinance number 2005-1006, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 2020-1009, as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Gregory Ridge Subdivision from R4 multifamily residential district and R2 two-family residential district to R1 single-family residential district. This ordinance introduced for second consideration by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Okay, any questions or comments on this item? Okay, roll call, please.
Vogelzang?
Aye.
Kuhn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Goodrich? Knutson?
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. Next item, we have a fiscal year 2025 budget amendment. And this is to amend the fiscal year 2025 budget for revenues and expenditures. The public hearing for this will be on May 27th, 2025, and the budget amendment needs to be filed with the state by May 31st, 2025. Could I have the resolution, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing for the fiscal year 2025 budget amendment. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Any questions? Any discussion about this? Okay, roll call, please.
Kuhn?
Aye.
Peterson?
Aye.
Goodrich?
Aye.
Knutson?
Aye.
Vogelzang?
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And our next item, we have some general obligation loan agreements. And these would be to finance various infrastructure improvements for extending, widening, improving, constructing, and repairing streets, water, sewer, flood protection, and remediation projects, as well as some other items as well. And we will start with a report on these proposals. We have Ann Hester, who is our Director of Finance here.
We reached out to 12 local banks. We heard back from 3 local banks. Those 3 proposals have been reviewed, and financial advisor Tim Fiscal of 5% recommends the proposal from Midwest One Bank. That proposal has the interest rate, fixed interest rate 5.1%. The next best interest rate that was offered by a different bank was 5.3%. And initial analysis shows that we'll be saving about $16,000 by doing local placement versus competitive bidding in the market.
I'm sorry, saving how much?
About $16,000 in fees by placing locally versus competitive bidding in the market.
Awesome. Thank you for that overview. Okay, could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution authorizing and approving a bank proposal and awarding the sale of general obligation bonds. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Wynn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Do we have any questions about this or any discussion about this?
Can you just clarify, you said we're saving a little money by having open bidding.
By
But we just had open bidding.
placing the local bank versus going into the market and letting, hiring the broker or just going outside the local market and using advisors and broker to get potentially lower interest rate, but the fees would actually offset the
Okay.
savings.
We won't have any fees associated.
We'll have some fees, but those fees will be less than doing it otherwise.
Do we have any other questions about this?
Just kind of a line of credit, basically.
It will be a loan, and this loan is to pay, so we have a couple projects identified that will be paid, using this loan. The first one will be Hudland and Commerce Drive roundabout, Costco roundabout. It's over $1 million. And it also will be helping to pay the Forever Green Road extension. There are some construction admin fees and design fees that will help with that as well. The loan will be paid in 12 months.
Great questions. Do we have any other questions about this?
This is essentially what Tim
Yes.
recommended a couple months ago, right?
Yeah, this is the recommendation, and that this meets the legal obligation of debt by the state of Iowa, but we'll have enough money to pay it back in the next spring. So it's 1 year, doesn't, traditionally we'll do it in the same year, so it won't even hit our audit, and we'll be able to do these projects at a much lower expense.
So we get the money in July then? Is that what you're saying?
With this particular loan, right now we have it, get the money in June.
Yeah,
but
this year.
So it'll be a different fiscal year.
Yeah, this year it'll be different fiscal years. In the future, his recommendation was to do it in the same fiscal year.
Okay.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions about this item? Or any other thoughts? Okay. Roll call, please.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, Iowa Department of Transportation Agreement for Congressionally Directed Funding. This federal aid agreement is for community project funding that was received through the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving a federal aid agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for congressionally directed funding for the Evergreen Road extension. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Quinn. Any questions?
Yes, this is a joint project with the City of North Liberty, and was a joint application, and we are looking to submit future grant applications as well for the Forever Green Road. This will take, there'll be two sections. There'll be an east and a west section of this that'll be done. We take bids later this year, right? January. Yeah, yeah. So this will start the process of completing that section of road between between Dubuque Street and 12th Avenue. So it'll be very good. And about half, a little bit more than half is in North Liberty, and the other half will be in Coralville.
And so I always have to ask, anytime we're talking about federal dollars, any concern that this appropriation will be clawed back?
No, and this is, the DOT actually has this on their program, and it runs actually through the state of Iowa.
Okay.
And the funding comes from the congressional, but to the state and then to us. So we are in good shape with this.
Okay, excellent. Do we have any other questions about this item?
Cut through quite a few woods on this project at some point. It looked to me like,
Yeah.
looking at it on the map. What are the mitigation steps that we'll have to take as we do that? I think we go over.
We go over
Muddy
two
Creek.
creeks, or two, yeah.
Will we have to buy our credits from the other project type of thing again, like we did? Do you know about all that?
Yes, we will.
We will.
For real, we will?
Yeah, there is some stream impacts.
Okay.
As noted, there is one section of the overall project corridor that is heavily wooded. Fortunately, that is actually mostly property the city of Coralville already owns. But just kind of as a refresher on the history, this went through two alignment studies. I can't remember the exact years. I think it was 2004 and 2014, or 2006 and 2014. So multiple alignment options were considered, and it all led to the alignment that you saw recently. So there just simply wasn't any avoiding that particular area of woodland, but we do expect stream impacts and wetland impacts. So, but those, that area will not be impacted in this first phase that we are constructing next year.
And are we planning to put a trail along this as well?
Yes, it will be designed with a 10-foot wide trail on the north side of the road, all the way.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Excellent. Do we have any other questions or comments about this? Okay, thank you, Scott. All right, could I have the roll call, please?
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have overnight parking rates. This would change the overnight parking rate for the Hyatt Regency Coralville North Parking Ramp and South Surface Lot from $8 to $10 per night. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving an adjustment in the overnight parking fees for the Hyatt Regency Coralville North Parking Ramp and South Surface Lot. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Do we have questions or any comments on this item?
Just to remind council, this is what we included in the budget and had advertised as part of the budget process.
Thank you for that reminder. Any other questions about this or thoughts? Okay, roll call, please.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have intermodal park and ride permit fees. This will change the intermodal park and ride fee from $50 to $55 per month, and these fees will cover an access-controlled covered parking space in the intermodal, as well as an unlimited bus ride pass. And the public hearing for this will be on June 10th, 2025. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution setting a public hearing on the proposal to increase the park and ride fee for the Coralville Transit Intermodal Facility. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Knutson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Wynn. Do we have any questions about this item?
Just comment, Mayor, that this was also included in the budget and our publications around that, but it is different from the previous item because it's a federally funded system and part of our transit. We do need to do the public hearing, whereas we didn't on the previous item.
Thank you for that.
How long's it been 50?
Since the facility was opened.
And what year was that?
2015.
Okay, so for 10 years.
Been
it's
10
been
years
the
at
state.
50, and there's still a waiting list to get in this facility, or no?
We are over capacity in the sense that we've oversold, but we have openings yet.
We still,
We oversell the lot because of our work with the University of Iowa Hospital, our IRL facility. Their employment is so scattered, and so it enables us to oversell the facility.
and that hasn't created any problems to date.
No.
That's a lot less than university charges for parking, I can tell you that. But it is not associated federally, so does that limit how much you can?
No, it
No?
doesn't, so we
Oh,
could,
okay.
we can set those rates. And, I mean, when you think about it, it's a very good deal, because you're not only being able to park a car, but you can ride the bus for the whole
Right.
month as well, included in it. So it is a very good rate.
Can you talk a little bit about how that unlimited, or maybe Vicki, the unlimited bus ride pass works, or just so that for the public?
And what's it normally cost, just for the bus?
So our 31-day unlimited is $32. And so this is basically the same thing. You could ride transit anytime during the day, and it's an unlimited ride pass. So they can use it for commuting or in between commutes. They could use it whenever they wish.
And it's just for this intermodal?
So it's an intermodal pass.
Okay,
The
gotcha.
pass that they have accesses
To
the parking, and then it also is your bus pass as
But you
well.
could ride the bus from any location.
Yes,
So like
correct.
if you didn't, for one day you didn't drive, you could just jump on the bus if you wanted to. So, yeah, it's just a Coralville bus pass, so you could do either.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments?
Good deal.
Okay. Could I have the roll call, please?
Vogelzang,
Aye.
Quinn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich. Aye. Knutson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have our union contract, and this agreement is for 3 years. That will run through June 30th, 2028, and this will put all 3 union contracts on the same expiration schedule. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving an agreement with ASCME Local 183 Council 61 representing Public Works, Parks, and Recreation employees effective July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Vogelzang, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Peterson. Do we have any questions or comments on this, or any discussion on this item?
I guess I'd have the same question as I had last time. And this has already been voted on by the membership and.
Yes, it was ratified by the membership.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Part-time employees are not included in this, is that what I'm understanding?
No, there are some part-time employees in the recreation center that are included.
Oh,
But the
Seasonal
Seasonal
employees
is
are not.
Yeah.
Seasonal employees are not, correct.
And the
okay,
CCPA.
season, okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Quinn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Okay, next item, HVAC DDC control update, Phase 1. This is for Phase 1 of the HVAC DDC control update with Base Point. And this would include work to the master controllers and other subcontrollers at the library, City Hall, Rec Center, and Fire Station number 2. Could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving proposals from Base Point Building Automations for Phase 1 of the multi-year, multi-phase HVAC DDC control update. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Quinn, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Okay, so we have Alex Burmeyer here from Parks and Rec. You want to give us a little update or just a little overview on this?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a respiratory thing. So, yeah, Sherry asked me to come present some of this information. Very important topic. We're talking about air conditioning in people's offices. So I usually get a phone call if something's not working right. I also brought in Ryan Bempson with Base Point. He's the specialist in this department. It does get a little techy, so lots of acronyms, but I'll try to simplify it a little bit. So the HVAC DDC control update with Base Point is a project we started planning for 3 years ago when Base Point brought to our attention that our controllers, graphics, and operating system would be obsolete by 2029. This system, both mechanical items and computer softwares, operate the exhaust, boilers, heat and air conditioning, glycol, in-floor heat, and ceiling heat for most of the city general fund buildings. This is a multi-year, multi-phase project. It will update controllers, graphics, VAVs, thermostats, and other working hardware and software systems in the HVAC area. Staff is recommending Phase 1. We actually did a pre-phase about 2 years ago in the Parks Transit Water Facility. So we're already privy to how this should work and this conversion should work, so we're just expanding it now. So Phase 1, with the upgrade to the master controllers and various sub-controllers at City Hall, here, which is engineering and PD, the library, Fire Station 2 we included in this phase. And this includes limited controller upgrade at the rec center also. I know we have a new rec center happening, but we still need to get the master controller functioning so we can operate it in the interim. This will restore the function of the thermostats and cease the need to control heat and air functions from valves in the ceiling, which we're currently doing at the rec center. Total project cost of Phase 1 is $166,950. This project will be funded through a special HVAC controller update reserve line that we established back in FY '24. So we've been putting away money for this in preparation for this project. In order to move forward with phase one, I would recommend the city use $150,000 from that reserve account. And also, to make up for the difference, $16,950 from our exterior painting reserve line and building maintenance reserves. Total estimate over a series of years will be approximately $450,000. Once approved, this will start immediately, hopefully, and it'll take 3 to 4 months. So, for discussion, Ryan, did you want to add anything? Does anybody have any questions about this?
Does anybody have any questions?
Does the boiler of the library included in this?
Excuse me?
The boiler?
The actual boiler
Yeah.
replacement? No.
No.
No, that's a separate project. We will be able to communicate with that once we get this upgrade started, though.
Any other questions?
You kind of alluded to it, and I don't think any of us are excited to put a lot of money into the rec center right now.
Yeah, no, we agonized over that
It
decision.
sounds like you're doing just the minimum amount
Exactly.
there that you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure the demolition date for the rec center and how that's all sequencing, but I think we're at least
2029.
right, at least 3 years for maintaining that building. And how it is currently, it's you know, it's a lot of manual work with our building maintenance coordinator. So this is kind of a Band-Aid to get us through the next, you know, couple, 3 years before we demo that building.
Question.
Great
Any other
question.
questions or discussion on this? Or thoughts? Okay, thank you, Alex.
Very good.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thank you, Mike.
Could I have the roll call, please?
Quinn,
Aye.
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich, Knutson,
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have our addendum to the golf cart lease. And this would add one 2025 Yamaha Umax 2 beverage cart to the lease with Harris Golf Carts. And we would have a purchase option at the end of this lease. So could I have the resolution read, please?
Resolution approving an addendum with Yamaha Motor Finance Corporation USA to lease golf carts for the Brown Deer Golf Club. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Peterson, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Vogelzang. Okay, we have Alex here as well to maybe share some thoughts on, or updates on this.
Yeah, this one's equally as important as air conditioning, beverages on the golf course. So again, I'll read the memo off here. I just saw this this morning. So apparently, when we executed the new the golf cart lease with Harris Golf Carts in September of '24, our lease was not yet up on the beverage cart. So the lease is now expiring, and staff is recommending entering into a lease amendment to add beverage cart to our September 24 lease agreement. As noted, this is for a Yamaha UMAX 2 for $2,144 per year, paid annually, with an option to purchase at the end of the lease for $2,500. By adding to our current lease, all cart leases will expire at the same time. Very convenient. This is a utility cart with drop-in beverage cart service.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments about this? Okay, good enough.
Thank you.
Could I have the roll call, please?
Peterson,
Aye.
Goodrich, Knutson,
Aye.
Vogelzang,
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Next item, we have the Deer Creek Road Highway 6 intersection project. And these are federal funds, and they're for paving Deer Creek Road to the Clear Creek Bridge. And this would provide turn lanes on US Highway 6, and it would install traffic signals at the intersection. Could I have the resolution, please?
Resolution of support of the application for funding via the US Highway 6 Deer Creek Road Intersection Improvements Project via the Community Project Funding and Appropriations Request Programs. This resolution introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Quinn. Gotta ask the same question. Are we,
So this is the approving the application or letter of support. This was submitted by Congresswoman Miller Meeks would be for the current budget year. And the budget just recently got adopted without any congressionally directed projects. And that was a last-minute decision. This project had made it through the Appropriations Committee. So she made the decision that she's going to resubmit all of the applications that she did last year for the current budget year. And so she asked us for updated information. We sent in all of the letters of support that are updated, and we will hopefully find out sometime this fall whether it was included in the budget or not.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts? Okay, could I have the roll call, please?
Goodrich. Aye. Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. And finally, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
So move.
Moved by Nguyen. Could I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Could I have the roll call, please?
Knutson.
Aye.
Vogelzang.
Aye.
Quinn.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Goodrich.
The consent calendar is approved, all ayes. Okay, city administrators report.
Yes, first I'd just like to ask our city engineer to give a brief update. We've made a lot of progress on some major projects around the city, so I just thought he could give a quick update on where those all are.
Yeah, I'll start on the north end with our 2 underground utility projects. The raw water main portion of the Well 16 improvements has made great progress in recent weeks. And really the bulk of the raw water main is now installed along 12th Avenue and also on Oakdale Boulevard over to the new Well 16 site. We do have 2 crossings of 12th Avenue that will be open trenched across 12th Avenue, so we're going to wait until school is out on June 6th to do that work. And then we still have to bore the steel casing pipe underneath Crandick Railroad. And so we have a meeting coming up a couple days to meet with them on site to verify that part of the project. And then also on Well 16 itself, the well drilling contractor is scheduled to mobilize to the site on May 19th. And so we will, as mentioned before, we will be getting notification directly to adjacent residents, but you will certainly see a press release several days in advance of when that work will begin. And then on the Oakdale Boulevard force main project, they now have a majority of the new force main drilled in all the way from the west end, which is off of Oakdale Road, just into the UI Research Park. And they've extended the pipe east all the way to Brown Deer Road. And so right now, this week, they are fusing together sections of pipe along Brown Deer Road and starting to do the pilot drill, which will then be used to pull the new pipe back into place. So they're working on Brown Deer Road for the next 2 to 3 weeks to complete that section. So we are getting close to having a majority of that done, but there's several connections that still need to be done before that project can start receiving sewage flow that comes from the Brown Deer 4 lift station. So those are the 2 projects up north, and then just to the west of us here at City Hall, the 5th Street Phase 3 going along just fine. All of the street paving is complete. The parking stall paving is complete. They poured a majority of the 8-foot sidewalk that's along the north side of 5th Street, adjacent to Morrison Park. And then they're just working on other kind of fill-in activities. So we're definitely on schedule to get that reopened to vehicular and pedestrian traffic long before the 4th of July festivities. So
Awesome.
I think that's it.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Scott about any of the projects?
Just curious, the 2 crossings on 12th Avenue, where are those going to be?
Yeah, generally between Liberty Drive and Southridge Drive. Actually just north of Southridge Drive. So the detour will utilize Northridge Drive and Lindcrest.
Thank you.
Anything else for Scott? Any other questions?
That's a long detour, isn't it? Relatively.
Relatively, distance-wise, yes. But
How long will that be?
hopefully 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, it's, again, most of the pipe along 12th Avenue was directionally drilled, but these were just 2 locations where we physically couldn't find a way to set up the drill rig to accomplish that. So we had to do it the old-fashioned way and trench across the street. So, however, I will mention, there's a side benefit of this expanded closure that the Streets Department will be taking that opportunity to have a contractor come in and do additional patching. So that's needed on that section of 12th Avenue.
Having biked on there, I can agree with that.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Scott, for that update and those overviews.
Just a couple other items, Mayor. I was almost late. I was coming here and ran into the Director of Workplace Learning Center, and she wouldn't let me go because she wanted to tell me how wonderful Lynn Knight was and all the help that she's given, and was just very excited about our community service officer from the police department, that how great he is, Anthony, and all of the work he does, and how helpful he has been with the students in their program, and said that she just wanted me to know that, and so I thought I would pass along that great news. And then the last item, with kind of with a sad heart, our city attorney, Don Deal, delivered me a letter this afternoon that he asked me to read, and he says, "To the mayor and city council members, it is with substantial sorrow that I dictate this letter of my resignation as Coralville City Attorney effective May 15th, 2025. I was sworn in 63 years ago and have had the pleasure of serving many fine mayors and council members, which includes those who are presently in office. I have watched Coralville grow from a small town to a great city. My resignation comes for several reasons. First, I'm being treated for prostate cancer and lymph node cancer. I also suffer with diabetes and arthritis. Well, enough said. Goodbye and farewell. You are in good hands with Kevin Olson. Sincerely, Don Deal." So, 63 years of service is amazing, and the changes and things that he has been involved in. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, and certainly wish Don well and appreciate his lengthy service to the community. That has to be some kind of a record, I would assume, right?
I would guess. I'll pass that on to the League of Cities because
Yeah.
I can't imagine that there's been anybody that's been in service that long.
Yeah, certainly for Coralville, probably a substantial length of service, and we appreciate everything he has done and contributed to the community, and we will certainly miss him. And Kevin, I hope that you're going to start giving us candy at the end of that. You're going to have to do that now.
Obviously, I have to up my game.
Yeah, I like the peppermint discs.
Okay.
Just an FYI.
Okay.
Don has been around long enough that he was in the original City Hall. That's where he started, which is now a museum. So that tells you how long ago that was. Yeah.
My goodness. Wow. Well, we wish him well and certainly appreciate all of his service to our community. I really don't have anything this evening. I look forward to hearing about the third annual Coralville Asian Fest that's coming up this weekend. And I'll just say that it has been an absolute joy to see this event grow over the years, and want to commend my colleague and her committee for their hard work and their dedication, and just something that it's really beautiful and really unique, and so glad that we have this event happening this weekend. Only other thing I wanted to note was that there was another event last weekend at Northridge Park with the Iowa Children's Museum. I was not able to attend. I was actually at an event in Iowa City, the Beyond Fashion Fest with the Wright House of Fashion. They had their event that same weekend, but I heard that the event at Northridge was a huge success, and that Officer Detweiler was also there, and I'm just, he's a very popular guy because I heard about his work at that event as well, and was just doing a lot of really great stuff for the community. Really appreciate that. And just want to congratulate the folks on that event and the folks with the Children's Museum as well. Appreciate all of their work, and that is a wonderful amenity that we have in our community. I'm really grateful that they are here. And that is all I have. City Attorney's report.
A couple things. I'd just like to obviously recognize Don. He was my mentor. I started this is my 25th year. I would still have a long ways to go, but I'm not aiming to break that record. Don was one of the last of the breeds of attorneys that practiced in the general practice, so he knew a lot about everything. He was always looking for ways to solve problems instead of cause problems, and he did. The institutional knowledge he has of the city is unmatched. I mean, other than the Rex, probably. That Don certainly will be missed. I will certainly miss his counsel. He's still around, obviously, but I was just honored to serve under him and to learn from him over the 25 years that I've been here.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, committee and council members report. We'll start down at this end with Councilmember Knudsen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to congratulate Don, too, on his early retirement. You can get it, Kevin. Yeah, I have a personal story kind of related to that. My father was general practitioner, attorney, and city attorney for over 50 years in my little hometown in northwest Iowa. And he thought he had broken a record, and I had to tell him that, no. Don easily beat him out. And I just want to comment, there's this solar, you have an opportunity to attend a solar panel or breakfast at Merge in downtown Iowa City this Thursday from 7:30. I think the event starts officially at 8. I just was visiting a friend who's very active, and he's an electrical engineer, building big, huge solar projects, and he always updates me on all the opportunities in solar. So, lots still going on, and encourage people to take advantage of that. I think you can either do it in person or attend virtually, and that's all I have, Mayor.
Excellent, thank you. Councilmember Vogelzang.
I really have nothing other than to extend congratulations to Don and thanks for all his contributions.
Awesome, thank you. Councilmember Huynh.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll miss Don Candy for sure. Yeah. but I've only been working with Don for the past 2-3 years, because 2 years before that it was over Zoom. Yeah. So I didn't get to know him personally, but once we moved back here, his steady presence always bring comfort in this room. So we'll miss him for sure. Thank you, Mayor, for the proclamation of the AAPI Heritage Month. 3 years ago, longer than that, I had a wild dream that how can we celebrate the diversity that we have right here in Coralville. And of course, I can't speak for other culture. The culture that I know best is Vietnamese and happen to be Asian. And I have friends who also represent from other Asian country. And so I just threw the idea out on the table, just to get the feel. And lo and behold, all of my committee members said yes. And from that yes, we worked tirelessly for 5 months, because we started in December and the festival took place in May. We went and fundraise and do all kind of things. We reach out to the city and ask for the city support. And from the very beginning, the city was fully support the idea and work with us to find a way to, assist us as first-time festival organizer. We did not know what we got ourselves into, but having the expertise of city staff, especially from the rec department, was very helpful. They pivot and they really met our challenge. And it has been a fun festival to organize ever since. This May, which is this Saturday, will be our third annual. And with each year, it grew a bit bigger. It's hard for us to kind of quantify the number of people who come and enjoy the festival. And it is open to everyone and it's free, except if you want to eat good Asian food, then you gotta bring some money. But there's a lot of educational activities and things like that. We also have a lot of raffle prize this year. So come out. It's gonna be at S.T. Morrison Park from noon to 6 on Saturday. And it's supposed to rain tonight, but I'm really crossing my finger that the ground will stay somewhat dry, because otherwise we'll have to pivot to Plan A, and that's never fun. But thank you again for the support from the city and city staff. We could not have pulled this off without that support. And the support from community members as well. They recognized and they showed up and they helped make the festival, as fun and as diverse and as educational as possible. So thank you. And this whole week is Mayor Cleanup Weeks. As we can see that there are all kind of stuff lining our curb. I would encourage anyone who have anything that is useful, especially household item, please bring them to Houses into Home. They are looking for anything from bed to microwave to bedside table, lamp, anything that you have that is useful, please bring it to Houses into Home. They also have pickup as well. So if you don't have a big enough vehicle to transport a big piece of furniture, give them a call and they'd be more than happy to drive a truck over and pick that up for you. I think the more that we can keep out of our landfill, the better, especially when things are still usable. Was it this past Saturday, the city have a recycling swap, and it was full of people that bring in stuff and exchanging stuff, and it was really good to see. This is our, how many years have we done this? Like
Over 10.
Over 10 years, and I think it's grew bigger and bigger every year. So I encourage you to reuse, reduce, recycle if you can. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Peterson.
I would start off with wishing Don Deal, geez, easy for you to say.
Yeah.
A good retirement, and my thoughts are with him and his health, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. 63 years, it's amazing that his dedication to the community is unwavering. So, second, I'd like to say I hope all the moms had a great Sunday. We threw together in the last minute a fundraiser for the Coralville American Legion, and we had a Mother's Day lunch from noon to 4 there. Our goal was to serve 100 moms. We got close, but it was such a short notice. We're hoping that the money we raised will help extend their life at the building, and that we can do this on an annual basis. But it was very, very well received for the short notice that it was. I think we raised close to $1,200, so not bad. The carpenters did all the food, donated the food, and cooked and served. Put that on your calendar for next year. And I know this is probably premature, but this is the Memorial Day will be this month. And it's one of the services that the Coralville Post 721 Legion serves is they do color guard for the memorial services at both Oxford and Coralville Cemetery. So hope to see people there. Other than that, That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Goodrich.
Just a quick couple things. Thank you to everyone who was involved in the cleanup week. It just looks so beautiful this time of year, and with the weather the way it's been and so on, it's just nice to see everything green and clean, and that's such a good program that we have that builds on different parts of how we can get rid of our stuff and keep it out of the landfill. I look forward to Asian Fest from 12 to 6 on Saturday. And to Don Deal, I will miss him so much. It's been years and years of little visits, and I just have to chuckle when I think about coming in here before our council meetings and just asking Don what's interesting or what he's been doing, and he would have some pretty amazing traffic violation stories. And he was just always so interesting and did such a great job for all of us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Knutson,
Second.
seconded by Peterson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.